Hello, Pearl Jam community. I'm Chrissie Ferguson with the Wishlist Foundation, and I'm here today with Josh Klinghoffer. It's been a year since I last chatted with Josh, so we're just going to catch up on the past year and find out what he's currently working on and what's on the horizon. So, welcome back, Josh. It's really great to see you again.
You as well. Thanks for having me.
So we have a few questions for you. My first question is, a lot has happened over the last year. And so if you had one word to describe the last year or a couple words to describe the last year since we last talked, what would that word or what would those words be?
Gosh, I don't know. Right now, this is recency bias, I guess, but it feels kind of like a whirlwind, I guess. But I'm trying to think of a year ago, like what was happening uh, 8 months ago, 9 months ago. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, for me, it's been sort of lots of music, lots of different settings. Yeah, I guess all year it's been sort of nonstop. So it feels a bit of like a whirlwind now that I think, and now it's all kind of flooding back. I'm not, I have a really terrible short-term memory these days. Like I have zero clue what I did last night if you were to ask me, but I'm pretty good with dates and I remember the past pretty well, I think. So, like thinking back in the short term for this year, I have to allow, especially if I'm on the spot. I have to give it a moment to flood back in, but now
Yeah.
it's doing so, and I think, yeah, it's just been lots of different music, lots of different projects, playing with lots of different people, doing some stuff on my own earlier in the year, trying to finish things that I haven't quite finished yet, which I hopefully will in the beginning of this coming year. Yeah, some touring, uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
lots of
this
music.
past year, you had the opportunity to play with Jane's Addiction. I know that was because Dave was unfortunately recovering from the side effects of long COVID. But how did that opportunity arise for you, and what was that like playing with them?
It mostly arose just because of my friendship with Eric Avery that I've sort of I guess in the last, it's been a while now, but in the last 10 years or so, he and I have become quite close and done some music together in an informal way, and usually just messing about with synthesizers or you know he'll play on a song of mine or he'll ask me to do something with him, but it's usually a quick project. So this the Janes thing started by just wanting to see them in action. You know, they've always been one of my favorite bands since I think I got into them the summer after they broke up, so like '92 maybe. But yeah, I've just loved their music forever, and I flew to New York to watch them play at the Madison Square Garden, as my grandmother would say, yeah, I think in the days leading up to that, there was sort of an invitation to play with them. You know, if you want to do a song with us, and then the song was 3 days, which is kind of like three songs. So, or it's a long one song, and then it was so much fun. And I think I was planning on doing something up in Boston, and they were playing, so I just used I just hitched a ride on the tour bus, so I went and played 3 days with them in Boston and in DC. So after kind of spending a week on tour with them, I was very much in with them and in with the whole band. I've met everybody along the way, but I had never, they hadn't spent time as a band in quite a while, so it was just kind of exciting. And they were having a really good time. And Troy Van Leeuwen was playing guitar, and I was just blown away with how great they sounded and how great everyone seemed to be getting along. And they had some shows for the following year in March and April, and I think Troy knew that he had Queens of the Stone Age had commitments. So Troy was pretty certain that he wasn't going to be able to do it. So I think at some point I said, well, I think I can. So it was a pretty immediate thing. Like once the new year came around, yeah, just having spent a little bit of time with them, and okay, yeah, Troy can't do it. That's confirmed. All right, I'm in. I'll do it.
Nice.
And
So
just
then,
because of my love for their music, I mean, there wasn't really much rehearsal, or preparation. It was just sort of, we, did a week or so and then headed out. I knew those
Fun.
songs pretty well.
Yeah. Well, it looked like a great time. I didn't get to I got to the show at the beginning of tour down in Hollywood. But that was before you had joined them. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So after that, then the Pearl Jam tour starts, and it was short, but it was awesome. What were some of the
It was short,
highlights?
but it felt long.
It
Like
felt long.
it had the typical. Since I've been playing with them, every tour has had a sort of like massive emotional swing. Some point in the middle, 4 shows in, usually there's something
Right.
happens. So though it was kind of a shorter tour, it was still like almost a month long, and we had the typical 4 show, you know, health
Right.
tragedy.
Yeah.
um, yeah,
So hopefully
gosh, that
that
feels like a long
show will
time
be
ago
made
now.
up soon, right?
Uh, the one that was missed, yeah, absolutely. I think so. I mean, I know, not that I have, in Pearl Jam at least, like, I hate canceling shows. I haven't done it much. I've not been a part of that, but I know for sure the rest of Pearl Jam really does, and it really, broke all their hearts to have to miss that show, especially so late.
Yeah.
We had that happen quite a few times last summer, and there is serious anguish on the faces of these guys. They really really
Oh, I'm
don't take
sure.
that light. They don't take that lightly. They know how everyone's more than aware of how much effort fans from all over put into getting to each one of these shows, and the decision to cancel or postpone or something is never an easy one. And
Right.
it's like a real it's like a real death in for when that happens. Like the it's a real there's a real sorrow for a day or
Yeah,
two when there's a show like that. So yeah,
I'm sure.
I'm not 100% sure because they don't send me the routing emails to approve in this band, but I'm fairly sure that I mean the band will be back around that neighborhood soon, as well as whatever shows were missed the previous year, like Sacramento and Las Vegas. They don't forget about those.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's only so much you can do when you're not healthy and you're a performer. So I'm sure it's devastating and disappointing, but you guys have to take care of yourselves. So
Yeah,
I think it's just disappointing for the fans, but I think that they understand.
right.
So
Well, that's good.
now, I was going to ask you the highlights of the tour with Pearl Jam. If you had any highlights that you could share with us, but one of the things I also wanted to ask you about is I noticed that a lot of times before shows, you'll make it a point to go out and greet fans. And I just wanted to ask you about, why is it important for you to take that time out of your busy schedule to interact with fans?
Well, I don't know if I'm always doing it specifically to interact with fans. Like I don't make the decision to go out for that reason all the
Right.
time. Um, I will just go out into the crowd for another purpose, let's say
Right.
to see a friend, or to um, watch the opening band, or something, whatever it is. Talk to
Mhm.
I go out often and talk to Ian, my tech, or any of the guys on the crew, and um, yeah, I mean, I feel a little funny, it's just being recognized at a Pearl Jam show. At this point, I've been touring with them now for a little while, so people understand why I'm there. But yeah, it's still pretty surprising to me that I'm recognizable at all. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I there's a lot, there's a lot of me feels very much the same person that was bullying, myself up to the front row at a Pearl Jam concert in sort of 1995 or 1996 or whatever. So it seems like a very familiar place to me, and it's kind of, there's something that's sort of magical and sort of nostalgic in that sort of. I remember the feeling before they took the stage. I remember, watching the Ramones and or watching X, who I feel like I saw those two bands open a lot, like sort of Jack's first tour. I saw a lot of those shows. And I just remember the excitement in the room, and obviously the venues looked the same at that point,
Yeah.
at that stage, and I can really relate to how excited the people in the room are. I get
Right.
if I, yeah, so there's, I mean, I guess I would never say that my presence or them recognizing me or having a couple words with me is something that's that meaningful for them, but I just know that um, that there's a real excitement, and anything you can do to heighten that experience in any way, I guess, like to me that not to sound like a flower person, but there's just a lot I enjoy, since I'm about to go play, which still shocks me. It's still sort of a pinching kind of thing for me that I'm not in the crowd at this show. I'm actually there on the other side of it. But yeah, no, I used to do it kind of with the Chili Peppers as well in different ways. Um, all that positive energy that's sort of bubbling that's sort of bubbling beneath, that explodes sort of when the band hits the stage. As much of it as I could, kind of ingest before going out there, I
Mhm.
know that's going to translate to my performance or the show, whatever that you call that. I mean, I
Yeah.
never feel like I'm really performing. I'm just going up and playing up there. But
Yeah.
speaking of it now in my garage, yeah, like whatever I'm about to go do up there, the longer I spend in the venue, or like kind of just yeah, like I say, like sort of sucking up all that positivity.
Positive energy. Yeah.
Yeah, the better the whole night will be. Like I can very
Right.
quantifiably say on those rare occasions where we had to, in either this band or the last band, fly in or head into town, play and leave, and there was no time to even sort of sometimes talk with our friends on the crew. Like
Right.
there were a couple shows where we literally would land, airport, concert, car, airport, go, and that's just strange to me. Like it feels like a cheap, like a cheap night or something. Yeah, so I really enjoy kind of personalizing each concert,
Yeah.
and I can remember, oh, that night I went out and I had this friend here, and was speaking to them, and while speaking to them, I met a guy who, told me a story about giving Eddie something 30 years ago, and that was in the second night, I think, in Fort Worth. I met a guy who had a kind of a complicated story that I had to get him to repeat, and he gave me something to give to Eddie that I actually still have in my backpack, because there was no good moment to give it to him and tell the
Right.
story. But yeah, I mean, maybe if he's watching this, there was something to do with a fireman, I think, or the military. Like and I have it, and I will get it to him. It just will maybe take me a little longer.
Yeah.
The story, like I said, the story will come back to me as time goes on. Like I can't
Yeah.
remember it right now
You
because I'm on
start
the spot.
processing and all.
But
Yeah.
I have it here. It's in my backpack.
Okay, good. Well, I love that. So it's a positive energy. You're giving it out to fans, but then they're giving you that positive energy. And so you're ready to go out on that stage and just have a really good night of playing music.
Yeah,
Love it.
absolutely.
So,
So
kind of along those same lines, with you being so giving of your time and all of that with other people, you take a lot of pictures when you're on tour.
yeah,
And I am so curious as to how you are able to like separate yourself. So for me, if I were to be on stage, I'm thinking about like the next time I have to perform or the next time I have to speak. How are you able to just say, okay, now I don't have to play. I could go take pictures and just be calm and Are you trying to take in these moments so that you can then share them with the band or special guests so that they have
Yeah,
this to cherish?
yeah, all of the above. I mean, for me, like I said a minute ago, kind of, I don't know if it's just luck and it's just the way I am, but I um, there's really no difference between what I'm doing when I'm playing like playing second drums with Matt, or when I'm playing a little guitar part, or when I'm playing just a tambourine, and when I'm taking pictures. There's really nothing that it's all the same. It's
All
all
one.
part of the same thing. Yeah, I mean, and that was sort of a thing, I guess, that developed a little more last year when I found myself taking some pictures, and then I shared them with some of the guys, and then there was a positive response. And then, because at first I thought, oh, they're going to see me again and be like, ugh. And I thought the fans, especially since, we play in the round, or, we play there's the people in back, and I thought, oh, they're so sick of watching me sneak around. But, the, yeah, I mean, I think with the positive response I got with some of the pictures I had taken, it's a little bit of like an angle or some access that is unique, and I think the guys feel maybe just I don't know if anyone loves having their picture taken, but I sort of I try and be as discreet as possible, and try and sneak here and there, and that's the kind of photography I like, when people don't know it's happening, when you can get one off when
Right. The
no one's
candid ones.
looking. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
Those are the best.
I'm trying to capture moments. I mean, it's funny but I'm obviously not going. I'm trying to be as in the background as possible. So after a whole tour, and I know the moments in the songs that happen, so that you can only get so many, um, like Given to Fly mic jumps, or
Right.
you know, um, I know when Ed's going to do some great things. So it's kind of a little
Right.
game too. It's like how great can I get
Right.
the light kind of shining behind him, leaning back on the mic stand. It's
Right.
like for me again, not to sound silly. It's all just. And then this is a gift they've given me. It's all just an excuse to try and be creative. Like, so
Right.
I'm being creative when I play, and then I get to be creative in another way on a song that I'm not,
Fun.
playing on. And there's been talk of, like doing something with some of those pictures, here and there, but I'm I haven't had enough time to like go through them, but there's
Okay.
definitely, there's a good amount of them.
That's great. That was actually my next question from a fan, Chris T. He was asking, what are your plans for all these pictures? So there might be something that you might, when you have a little
Yeah,
time.
there's been talk of doing something with them, because yeah, Kevin Schuss has been touring with the band and been a part of the band's family for, basically since the beginning. I think he's always doing pictures and videos, and he takes a lot of the pictures that you see on the Instagram
Hmm.
page, I think. Yeah, so he and I are always kind of talking, for 5 minutes here and there at shows, like, oh, we gotta compile our stuff, and we could really do something. But yeah, again, it's just sort of a matter of time, and but yeah, I'll tell you, like on tour, I've almost missed lobby call, like sitting there and editing pictures, or
Oh,
something like
no.
yeah, like from the morning. It's happened more than once. I'll start getting editing, sort of like sprucing up some of the pictures, and then I'll find myself, sitting there kind of shaking, like I can't stop, because it's so much fun. And then I'm like almost late. I've been sitting here for
Uh-oh.
25 minutes. Yeah.
But there is a real art to photography. It's definitely fun, a fun hobby. So we all hope that you do something with those pictures
Oh yeah, thank you.
one day
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, I absolutely will, because they're just fun to look at. It's like
Yeah,
I never really had the chance to take a picture of a band that I love from the stage.
great. Such a cool perspective for
Yeah.
sure. How was Ohana? Did the I know, did you guys play just one night, Ohana?
Yeah, just one night. I'm trying to think what if I did I go on Friday? I don't think I went Friday. Um, but it was great. It was really, really great. And I had a bit of a, before the show or earlier, like before Pearl Jam left town, I was just I was a little unsure if we were who was playing Ohana. I didn't know if Ed was going to play solo or what. And then Chad Smith became unavailable, and I was sort of, I was really sort of like, oh no, Earthling is very much a Chad, Chad,
Right.
me, Andrew, and Ed thing. Chris joins us, later, but making that record, it was the four of us, and there was a real special thing. So for a minute, and I think, right before I knew that Abe Laboriel Jr. was going to take his place, I was really sort of scared about, upsetting the balance of whatever Earthling is.
Right.
But then Abe was available, and like that, he's someone that I've admired from afar for years, and I think I said this out loud not too long into the first rehearsal with him. And whenever you play with someone who is clearly having fun, and listen to the music in advance, not just to learn it, but because they appreciate the songs, and they
Mhm.
appreciate the music on a wider, like a kind of the totality of the songs, not just, oh, I'm learning my parts or whatever. The
Right.
other musicians that are playing can feel that, and that's a feeling that's kind of irreplaceable, and it's rare. 'Cause it's rare just to have a replacement in a band that's barely a functioning band, and we get together and play those songs very sporadically, and not so many times since the creation of those songs, only a few times.
Right.
But yeah, it's just that feeling, whatever it is. I'm trying to come up with like a dating analogy or something, but I don't do that very much, so I can't really. I don't. Yeah, I can. It just there's a real, like a real buzz to it. So for all of us, Chad is irreplaceable. But
Mhm.
what Abe brought to that show and that week of rehearsing was a whole different thing. And I think it showed on stage. We all had a great time, and I'm trying to think. Was that October 1st? Is that the date I think we played? Because
Yeah, it
Ohana,
was.
every year Ohana falls right around my birthday. It's either on my birthday or, and my father's birthday is the 30th of September. So he was there that night, but I think we were the first. No, or maybe it was, yeah, I can't remember. But
Yeah,
yeah, so,
I think it was that was right. Yeah, because we were planning on going. We had tickets to that, and then we decided to go to Austin instead. So, being a teacher, I can't take too much time off. so
all right. What do
so we
what do
had
you
to give
teach
up our
again?
Ohana tickets. U.S. history, middle school.
Oh, wow. So,
Yeah,
oh, do you teach just like sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, or well, I mean, like, do
just
you teach?
sixth grade.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Well,
Yeah.
someday off air, I'd like to pick your brain about your curriculum.
Yes. I,
Because
I'd love
I
to
mean,
chat with you.
yeah, I would, because I was, the history was really the only subject in school that I excelled in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I try to make it fun, and yeah, we can talk about that another time.
Yeah.
Because this is about you. So, okay, I would love to know what you're up to. Are you allowed to tell us what you're up to in the studio in
I
what?
never know. I never know if I am or not. It's funny. These days seem to become there's a secrecy around everything. But I can tell you right now that I'm recording a record with the Great Red Cross. If you know that band, they're a band from Los Angeles that have been around in one form or another since pretty much the year I was born, I think. Um, and it's the Jeff and Steve McDonald, who are brothers.
Mhm.
another band of brothers from Hawthorne, California, like the Beach Boys. And yeah, they started in the late 70s, and Jeff was 14 maybe, and Steve was 11. And Steve I met when we both toured together, when we both toured in Beck's band in sort of 20 years ago. And we became friends, like we became fast friends, and then have been great friends for 20 years now. But it's a funny relationship because his life was so focused around being in this band with his brother, his older brother. And I had never met Jeff in person until way later. So and now I know Jeff a bit. I mean, but I had this relationship with just Steve. So yeah, it's you know, we it feels kind of I'm pretending I'm their even younger brother, you know. So Steve has now become the middle brother. So yeah, so they're doing it, we're doing it over at my studio space that I finally put together, and yeah, we're sort of what's the date? I think we're 5 or 6 days in, and yeah, it's all coming along. It's all coming along pretty well.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, what about Pluralone? I've a lot of fan questions on what's going on with that, and if there's anything to look forward to.
There's definitely something or stuff to look forward to, and I mean, I guess this year has been a real another kind of lesson in time management for me. There was a period right after the Janes touring, which was sort of 2 consecutive months, I think, where I had a real. I can think back to having a real, I mean, I guess unrealistic expectation of myself, but I had planned on finishing at least 1, if not 2, Pluralone albums back then, like around May and June. Like I know I went to New York to visit some family in May, and I tried to get a lot of writing in, and I really remember walking around New York listening to some of these songs, and I thought I was close to finishing them. But anyway, here we are, November 21st, and it's not done yet. But I think because of that, you know, a lot of them have had time that maybe they needed some time to kind of just sort of grow, even if only in my mind. There was a couple of songs that were sort of, you know, born of the This Is the Show period that I was thinking of, sort of B-sidey kind of single songs that like I had done with the previous couple of albums. But it's been so long now that I'm just going to sort of roll that into a new 10-song collection, and then I have the other 10-song collection that I had begun writing the year prior. Like it seems like I'm always sort of a year out. I'll write and record the beginnings of songs, and then I'll finish them a year later. That's how it's seemed to be kind of in the last little while. But yeah, all that said, because of, you know, I did some playing with Janes, just some sort of, you know, kind of writing, and after we got off tour, and then Pearl Jam tour, it's yeah, I'd say if all goes according to schedule, come January, I will have at least 2 records to finish, and then I have another kind of 10-song collection in my head that probably totally unrealistic, but yeah, my goal is to finish, and you know, I don't know when they're released, but finish 3 Pluralone albums next year.
Nice.
That's my goal. Yeah. So we'll see if that happens.
You'll have a lot of excited fans if you can accomplish that.
That's wonderful to hear. And I know, yeah, that's amazing. Thank you to anyone who has shown interest in that.
Yes. There are lots of questions about that, about Pluralone and when they can expect you to finish albums, have new albums, go on tour, all those questions.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I hope I answered some of them in that long.
You did. So I'm actually going to go into a few of the fan questions. A lot of them were actually just answered in what you were talking about. So
yeah, see, that's why I give long-winded answers. Maybe I can kind of cover a lot of bases.
Yes. Yes, you have. Well, I'm going to ask. This is from Jun Ho. He is from Korea. Love from Korea. Ever since Red Hot Chili Pepper days, your gear choices have always fascinated me. I saw that you were using new, interesting stuff like the Castadosa baritone or the Boss Tone Bender, and we've gotten a new rig rundown. Guitars, amps, and pedal wise, what have you been using recently? And looking forward to new Pluralone, Pearl Jam, Jane's Addiction,
Well,
Earthlings, and Bicycle Thief material.
well, there's going to be all of that. I don't know when exactly for each one, but yeah, there will be new material from all those groups. Let's see. There is a little pedal board that I must have thrown together for that Earthling show, and it's a pretty concise group of things that I because it always takes me a very long time to commit to what I want to use because I have so many fun noisemakers that I want to include them if I can, and then it just takes me forever to commit to what they are. Same with Jane's. It just took me so long to build what I wanted to bring with me. It's mostly for my own enjoyment. I didn't need a whole lot with them, and I didn't need a whole lot for Pearl Jam either. It's just what little fun thing do I want to bring along that'll make me have an extra special time in that song or this song. So I'm trying to think though. Now, yeah, the Boss Tone Bender is something that I wished for the entire time I was in the Chili Peppers. That's always fun. I'm trying to think though if there's anything noteworthy on the board now because I haven't used it since that Earthling show. But yeah, I don't know. I'm always sort of. I bought a Tele Deluxe in Austin, like after the last Pearl Jam show. I drove home from Austin, so on the way out, I picked up this black Tele Deluxe, which is similar to the one I already have, the Sunburst one. But there was something about it that reminded me of Ed and of the Earthling. So I convinced myself that it was a good idea to buy, even when it probably wasn't. And that is that's in my mind. That's my most recent guitar. That and the yellow Strat, which some of you might have seen me play on that last tour. That was a gift from very gracious and generous Ed Vedder in Minneapolis. I also
Very
bought this Strat. I also bought this Strat in Minneapolis, which I totally well, I also didn't need, but it's like a total. It's a like it's got this ridiculous gold refin. Looks like it's been a refret. I put a DiMarzio pickup here, inspired by Mark from Krungbin. It was allegedly owned by Tommy Stinson, which was of course put me over the edge. Like, oh, I gotta buy it in Minneapolis. But again, I don't need it. But I was gonna make this and that black telly like sort of the Earthling rig, the Earthling
That's
guitar
awesome.
group. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else, if there's anything new. Yeah, I'm always if I actually I've stopped buying stuff because it's a compulsion and it's really unhealthy, I think. But I'm always picking up a new module here and there for my modular synth setup. Kind of discovering a company that I hadn't really spent much time with, and then deciding I need to get everything that they make, even though I have exactly the same things by other manufacturers. Yeah, so I don't know. Don't get
That's
into modular
awesome.
synthesis, people. It's an addictive.
So, a couple more questions from fans. We have McKinley, who is about to turn 18 years old. If you could tell something to your 18-year-old self, what would it be?
Mm, um, I let's see. I don't know. Because right now, at the moment, I'm torn between. Uh, I mean, I guess I mean, because it's that sort of Back to the Future thing. If I told my 18-year-old self something, the entire course of my life
History would
has
change.
been altered. Yeah. So, because I'm trying to think if there's anything that, like, and I think this is a lesson to learn that, you know, everything about the moment right now that you're in is what you should really be focusing on and trying to enjoy. You shouldn't necessarily be thinking about the past and what you would have done or should have done because you couldn't have done anything differently. And then you shouldn't spend the only thing you have, which is the present moment, trying to hypothesize about what the future could be. You really should use that mental space to enjoy your life as you have it right now, because that's all you have. So, but I mean, I guess one thing I would tell my 18-year-old self, or just one thing I would tell McKinley, the soon-to-be 18-year-old, is to, just have confidence in yourself. Like you are all you are you, and there's you're great the way you are, and if there are things you want to improve about yourself, then you absolutely can. Or you can bring about you can set the table to improve those things. If you wind up not being able to improve those things, then you're the kind of person that didn't want to improve those things. But that's not to say that you're a bad person in any way or you're doing anything wrong. It's just you are who you are, and all you can do with your time and your mind is surround yourself with good people and good information and good thinking, and you should be okay. Like yeah, don't be scared of the world.
Yeah. Great advice. I love it. Be yourself and follow Eddie's words, right? Present tense. Live in the
Yeah,
present tense. One of my theme songs.
yeah, it's a great one.
Um,
I
uh,
would play that for you, but I'd have to retune.
that's okay. So a lot of these questions are about your new projects. Oh, here's a good one. This is from Ileana. What are some of your Thanksgiving traditions?
uh, to whine about having to go to my family's house so early. Uh, I don't know. Thanksgiving for me, since I live in the same city as my family, is usually going over to their house, to my parents' house, and eating. Like I say, too earlier than anyone should be eating that much, and spending time. Just it's a bit just doing the Thanksgiving thing. I mean, I think in my last couple of years, uh, in the last few Thanksgivings, I think just as I get a little older and I get more comfortable acknowledging, just love and gratitude and things that I'm always thinking about and trying to express when I can to people. There's something maybe about reaching the age I'm at where you're very much at the middle point of the ride. It does seem extra important to tell the people around you that you're thankful that you're in each other's lives and that you care about them. So yeah, I mean, Thanksgiving is just another Thursday, but often work is you're off from work, and you're allowed to take that day off and just relax a bit if you can and reflect and think. So you can do that the following Thursday too, but it might be harder because you probably have stuff to do. But yeah, I think Thanksgiving is maybe just a day off to and you quite literally, give thanks for the things around you that you appreciate,
Right.
But like I said, it'd be great if everyone did that every day, like
Yes, it would
maybe
be.
that's maybe that's what we should all try this coming year is to write down how you think and feel about, those things on Thanksgiving and try and do them until the next one
I love it.
every
That's a
day.
great idea. I'm on
Yeah.
board.
Yeah. And, and if people were doing what I was talking about with, in that other question about just really, giving all your energy to that present moment and being grateful and thankful, then you would be doing that anyway. So you don't have to send a card or text a friend that you care about them. But just if you're mindful of how much how grateful you are for the things that you have, and if there are things in life that you don't appreciate or that you don't like or that you want to change, hopefully, most often there is a way to go about changing them,
Right.
and if there's not, then there's a way to talk. There's got to be a way to talk to someone about helping you change that, and if you're
Right.
absolutely stuck, I don't know, email Chrissie at the Wishlist Foundation, and maybe she can get it to me, and I'll try and come up with some answer or something, some way to help.
Thank you. Well, we have a lot of questions, and I know you have a very busy schedule. So I'm going to apologize to the fans if I didn't get to your question, but hopefully, with our discussion today, a lot of those questions were answered. So, Josh, we really appreciate your time, and thank you so much. I hope you do have a good Thanksgiving with your family, even though it will be very early.
Yeah, you
and,
too. You too.
and
I mean, well, you're on the East Coast, so just think when you're eating, so am I.
okay. All right. We're looking forward to seeing what's coming up with your new projects and what you're working on currently. So thanks again for sharing that information with us. And hopefully we'll catch up with you soon.
Absolutely, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. And I'm thankful for all of the love and support I've had from everyone that I've come across in the Pearl Jam community, both from the band and from the the people who are not directly in the band. But yeah, it's all one big family to me, and everyone has been so welcoming and so warm that I can't. I'm thankful for that every day, and I think about it every day.
Well, thank you. And we're thankful for you and how everybody always talks about what a nice person you are, and taking the time to be with fans and greet fans really means a lot to people. So we
Uh,
thank you for that.
Absolutely,
Thanks.
and if anyone has questions, I always like information. If I have the information, I want to get it to you. So,
Okay. Thank you so much, Josh.
all right.
Bye-bye.